Nice to have your company on a Sunday for the Sunday Footy Show. Thanks to Home Timber and Hardware, your proper hardware store. Yesterday we took a look at the MCG, the old traditional slot. 210, great rivals, Richmond and Carlton, 60,000 there. Beautiful day. It was all set up. The Blues, within 15-20 minutes, had made an awful mess of the Tigers. 28-16, 184 to 12-9. Chris Judd, we've already spoken about, was unbelievably good, as was Robinson. There are your Super Coach points, 180. So if he's your skipper, Willis, that's 360 points.
Good math.
Which is an unbelievable Super Coach bonus if you have Chris Judd as your skipper, which lots of people do. I shouldn't have thrown a maths equation at Bill. What we have, though, is the coach of the Carlton Football Club here, and he would be a happy man. Rats, welcome to the Sunday Footy Show.
Thanks, James. Yeah, very happy.
We were amazed the week before. I think everyone was looking forward to West Coast and Carlton, just to see how the West Coast were tracking, especially against a really good team in Melbourne. Amazed to see the performance that the Blues put up in that game, so I reckon you would be really pleased this morning with the response.
Yeah, that was the big thing that we challenged the group in regards to bouncing back. And footy's amazing. Last week was probably our worst performance for the season, and this week's our probably best season for the year.
How does that work? Because we saw that with Essendon, mate, last night.
Yeah, it's I suppose it's one of those things that if you're off your game and teams can get momentum, it's hard to take back. And really, full credit to West Coast. They were outstanding last week. We couldn't get the ball out, and this week we probably didn't allow the ball to get in, and we really controlled the centre bounce. I thought Warnock early and Judd and Robertson at ground level were brilliant, and then Murphy as well.
Before we go into the game, and we saw Dimmer Hardwick go up into the box after halfway through the last quarter. What do you get out of being on the boundary line?
I get the interaction between the players and information of what's going on. I suppose I get to look at the players and ask them, directly eye to eye, to ask them what I'm really after and to make sure that they get it right. And I suppose with the communication that comes down the box, someone takes the message, the runner gets it, then the player, does it get it a little bit mixed? And this way, it's actually straight from my mouth.
Can you see the game as well from that level?
No, there's no doubt that...
So you're giving up something to get that info?
Exactly, I suppose, and that's the relationship with the player and maybe, I suppose, more the Monday to Friday relationship of getting, I suppose, their role and a lot of clarity in that. And then match day, you sort of get the view from the coaches up there, which is, Al Richardson, Mark Riley, Gavin Brown, John Marker.
Know their stuff.
Yeah, and they know their stuff, exactly.
I'll ask you about a coaching move, obviously, over the off-season was to move Yaron to defence, who's been a half-forward, and Andrew Walker, who'd been half-back at times to half-forward. So added a real dimension, both players having their best seasons yet, and Walker just adds to that goal-scoring power, and Yaron's running carry really sets you up.
Yeah, the Walker one was more about just getting a lot more continuity in his football in one spot, and his ability in that final to kick 3 goals or 4 goals against Sydney sort of gave, this is what he's capable of doing against a very good team. And then we've always, I suppose, Braddles was the one that sort of, threw the question out, when Chris first came to the club, and his engine wasn't big enough to go there and play there for long periods. And last year we were probably the lowest possession team in our back 50 with the personnel that we had there. So we had to get more of the football, and that's why we played Gibbs back there at times. But Yaron's ability to break the line and open the zones up is pretty critical.
And recruited a couple of kickers like Laidler can seriously kick the ball as well.
And Dygan as well, yeah.
What about last week's loss? Did you learn most that you need another tall defender just up your sleeve because of Jemison going out? Was that one of the biggest things that you got out of that match?
No, not really. It was more the other way. It was actually our ball use going inside 50 was pretty poor on the day, but then our ability to do what we've done really well was to press up and lock teams in. And I suppose the transition that West Coast were, they could really use the open side, and they had 58 inside 50s, which is something that we haven't done or allowed the opposition to do, and that really broke down in our game, I thought.
Well, it took, I think, Chris Judd about 1.5 seconds to impose himself on this game yesterday. First bounce, he half fumbled the ball. We'll go to the package now and have a look at it. He half fumbled the ball. He pushes it down to the forward line on this play. Mitch Robinson gets on the end of it, Rats, and kicks a banana goal. Look at the clock. That's taken 23 seconds to actually slot that one. And Mitch Robinson must have thought from then and there, hey, you know what, I reckon I can have a good one here. And he has had a very good month. When he's been in, I know he missed last week, but he's been very good for you.
Oh, he's been outstanding. I think his approach at the footy, there's not too many players in the AFL that can maintain that through a game, and that's what he does. He consistently puts his body on the line, and he halves the ball for us a lot of the time, and he just makes a real contest.
Richmond did turn it over earlier, as we spoke about, and Carlton had roughly the same amount of turnover errors on the stat sheet, but they didn't seem to be as crucial to turning the ball back to the opposition and giving them an opportunity to score. I loved your tackling. You just don't tackle to contain. You have real, robust tackling in the forward half.
It was a pre-season focus, and with John Donoghue coming on board as a tackling coach full-time, it just enabled us to get a pre-season program that could really focus on tackling. And last year we were probably around 6th. This year we've sort of raised the bar and tried to maintain that in all parts of the ground, not just in our forward 50.
Was it your call, Lockie Henderson, to play at fullback?
It was a match committee. We sat down and looked at vision, and Lockie's played on, a while ago when he was at Brisbane, he played on Roughhead and did a fair job down in Tassie in one game. So we thought we'd go with Lockie, and we were really pleased at his effort on the day.
And really liking the work of Garlett. He's actually, I tend to think that Yaron going into the back line, Garlett's actually thought to himself, you know what, I am the pure creative one. Eddie Betts is a hard worker and runs up and he leads out, but now I can be the creative soul on the forward line. It's freed him up a little bit emotionally as well.
Yeah, it's probably hard to play the three boys down there with Yaz, Jeff and Eddie all together, so we sort of had to change what we were doing, and they have little contests between themselves about who's the most creative, who can kick the best goal, who's got the most speed, and I think they all say they're the best at all of them. So it's a little competition within the team,
which is great. Which is great for the camaraderie within the team. Tell me, when you go out to coach, you know the way Richmond play, you knew how they're going to set up. Jack's going to be at full forward, he's in the goal square. You know that Vickery's going to be a floating key forward. You know how they're going to set up. You know that Cochin's going to run the spine of the ground. You know they're going to try and get it back in on. Yep. Does it make it easier to set up when you know a young developing side what they're going to bring out in the ground? Does it make it easy? I know coaching's not an easy job. Does it make it slightly easier for you? And I understand you have to answer this with respect to your opposition.
Not sure what the question was, Rats, but try and answer, mate.
Does it make it easier when you know what you're going to get?
Was it really? I suppose what with coaching too is from week to week is you can actually overanalyse, and I've probably learnt that in the last 4 years about, I don't even go out and watch the warm-up, because if I see another player in another spot, I start to think, well, what if this and what if that? And you can actually overanalyse and create that many hypotheticals when you've done all your planning for the week. Why confuse the situation? Let's go out there and deal with it.
Have you ever changed on the run because of that?
Probably early doors, there might have been a couple that I did change on the run, or brought to the group's attention to say, we'll just be mindful of this and mindful of that and mindful of this, and it actually might create a little bit of confusion for them in the last message.
We had a chat pre-show about Chris Judd in the first segment, Rats, as to whether he's in better form than last year when he won the Brownlow. What do you think?
I'd say as good as last year. But
have you done your votes yet for yesterday?
I haven't. He will get best. I thought he was the best player on the ground. He was phenomenal, and I thought Robertson was right there, and I thought Murphy played a great game. I thought Warnock, that was his best game for a while as well.
Now, I haven't prompted him. You've just got the forearm about to put in.
Quick, change him upstairs for Dermot.
What about Murphy? He's had an amazing year. It looks as though he's just taken that next step and he's realised that, hang on, I've got to be a top liner here, and he's certainly showing it.
Yeah, I think it just shows the competition that we have to be patient with. Our elite picks that we get, the picks that are in the top 10 or the top 15, the first rounders. Everyone thinks that you can just flick a switch and he's going to be the size and shape that needs to be the best player in the competition for 22 rounds, or his fitness levels there. Murphy's always had outstanding talent, but I think his whole package of his game, the balance of winning inside and outside ball this year, has just been a real credit to him, and I think that's why he's getting the reward.
100-point plus win, no Jamison. There would have been Richmond supporters entitled to think on the way to the game yesterday, we're a shot today, and you do them by 100.
Yeah, I think it's a credit to the group to not allow the ball to go inside 50. I think we denied them any opportunity that they had to win by just inside 50s.
For those Richmond supporters, there are times when you just go through the motions, and there's times when you say, right, I've got a starting position, I have this, I have that, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to show you a bit of footage here, just one still action, and people say, right, if I'm going through the motions, I stand defensive side of my opponent. Now, we just let this run a fraction ahead. This is Warnock at the boundary line throw in second quarter. It's only gone 35 seconds. He pushes it out forward, and within seconds you have, look at the left-hand side of the screen. I think that's Walker on the left. He runs up to the right-hand side of the screen. Guess what? The boys upstairs have just stilled it a little bit early for me.
I think
But you end up...
Where's the ball?
Well, it's above Warnock's head. You end up with 7 Richmond blokes defensive side of the pack. They roll the dice and say, well, I'll get goal side. That's the right thing to do. Carlton boys hunt the ball. There was only Grigg who went with Judd. So you got 6v1 following the ball, and 7 Richmond guys sat off the other side thinking, this is defensive side, this is where I stand. You can't do that. That's just rolling the dice saying, I'm going through the motions, I'm doing the right thing, standing defensive side. Do that if you're 1 point down and it's the 30-minute mark of the last quarter and you've got to get a score. But that's just going through the motions. I reckon Dimmer Hardwick was well justified yesterday apologising to the supporters because they just went through the motions.
Rats, it always staggers me when people say that they either don't rate ruckman or don't understand how important they are. I thought yesterday your 2 blokes, especially in the centre circle, just dominated the game of football, and the amount of times you were able to just waltz out of it as cleanly as we're going to see here, it was a credit to those 2 blokes. Warnock, I think you've already mentioned, but I thought when Cruiser went in there as well, just the first hand, and you've already got good enough on ballers, but when they can get that sort of access, it just makes a huge difference.
Nice.
That's a good...
Oh, we've seen the Cox Nat Nui combination last week. I think ruckman, when they're getting their hand on the ball, they just let Judd and Co do this type of thing.
Yeah,
You can back yourself in this situation. It's great. It gives you so much confidence. And when Chris Judd's got his confidence and Mark Murphy, good luck. Can I just do one thing really quickly? One-word answers.
Oh, got a little game.
Yeah, welcome to the Sunday Footy Show one-word answers game. Okay, Chris Judd.
Champion.
Mark Murphy.
Evolving champion.
Mitch Robinson.
Kamikaze.
Dermot Brereton. Weird, what?
No.
lunatic.
He was a champion in his own right.
Brendan Favola.
Fev.
You going to get him back there next year?
No.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for playing. We've had a great game. And,
Nice one, Shane. Votes,
Anyone
Dermot.
got those crickets?
okay, let's...
Dermot's
talking again.
Chris Judd thought he was clearly best on ground. Mitch Robinson gave him a 7. You know what? There's 4 or 5 other blokes who could have slipped in for a 7 as well. Jared Waite, 13 marks as a half forward as well. Mitch Robinson, I thought his lead-up work was fantastic. The month ahead for the Tigers, Essendon, Gold Coast, Geelong and by. Well, we've seen they could win a couple of those. They aren't going to win the last one there, Bill, but Carlton, Western Bulldogs, Collingwood, Essendon and North Melbourne.
All right, Bill, Brett's been good enough to come in. What does he take home?
The acrylic shoes for you, Rats. You'll love them. You look very smart in Lygon Street. St. Goliath Clothing Pack, $250 gift card there to Glue Stores and David Jones. Ask the kids about that. Man, what a fuss. $100 voucher there. You can get a facial, Rats. That'd be nice for you.
I think I need one.
Or take the Dale for one. The King Chrome Tools, the 6-drawer tool chest today. So I know it's 6-drawer, by the way, right? The Mighty GNC protein powder there for muscle recovery development. Ready to golf, $130 voucher there. Waterside Hotel, $100 voucher. And the Home Timber and Hardware, $200 gift card. Thanks to Home Timber and Hardware, the proper hardware store.
Well shot, Dave.
Yeah, nicely done. And speaking of, as Bill so nicely put it, the Dale, I think your beautiful fiancée Jo's wandered in here with us. She's over there. How does she go as a wife-to-be of a very busy senior coach?
Look at her.
Yes, she's coming to the football with me today, so we're going straight to have a bite and then head off to the footy to watch your team, Dan.
Oh, yeah, the Hawks. Oh, yeah, well, at least you'll get a bit of enjoyment watching a good team. Okay, but,
They do. They ride the bumps, don't they, the girls? You'd be up all night watching the vision and not getting a lot of sleep, so you need a good partner in life.
Is that why he's up all night?
Come on. Hey, smarten it up. We're beautiful Jones in here. Behave yourself. Rats, well done. I think everyone in footy has been delighted with the Blues' progress and also how well you're going individually as a coach. Thanks for coming in today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Rats.
Brett Ratten from the Carlton Footy Club. We've got the doc coming in next for the ice spray injury report, and then we look at the blockbuster from last night, Essendon and Geelong.